What if I told you that the absolute most profitable corporate entity on planet Earth is not a highly celebrated digital technology giant operating out of a sleek California campus, but a completely sovereign industrial energy titan, operating in the blistering desert sand, quietly generating an incomprehensible amount of physical liquid wealth every single day? Welcome to Money's Hidden Past. Rich people lied. We fact-checked today. We are stripping down the core business models of the global corporate apex predators and exposing exactly how the absolute largest empires on Earth extract their massive profits. When the ordinary working class thinks about massive international corporate profitability, they immediately picture the heavily marketed brands that dominate their daily consumer lives, assuming that selling millions of expensive digital smartphones or delivering cardboard boxes automatically translates into the absolute highest structural financial returns on the planet. But if we completely strip away the flashy corporate marketing and the public relations hype, and look strictly at the absolute undeniable mathematical reality of pure net corporate profit, the actual physical amount of physical cash remaining after every single expense is paid, the undisputed heavyweight champion of the global economy is a company called Saudi Aramco. Saudi Aramco is not just a traditional commercial energy business operating in the open market. It is a massive state-owned sovereign industrial machine belonging to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, functioning as the absolute beating mechanical heart of the entire global energy infrastructure, and operating on a scale so massive that it completely defies standard economic comprehension. The core fundamental business model of this incredible sovereign corporate machine is brutally simple and completely lacks any complicated modern digital abstraction. They aggressively drill into the ancient earth to produce and refine crude liquid oil, and they strategically market those vital petrochemicals to a completely addicted global economy. But simply possessing a massive supply of natural liquid hydrocarbons beneath the sand does not automatically guarantee you will become the absolute most profitable company on earth. Because digging miles into the earth and refining crude oil is an incredibly expensive process that routinely bankrupts smaller traditional energy companies operating in North America. The true structural secret that makes Saudi Aramco uniquely and terrifyingly profitable is the absolute ultimate historical advantage of unprecedented geographic and physical scale. Their massive domestic oil fields are highly accessible and entirely located onshore, completely eliminating the need for incredibly expensive deep-water offshore drilling platforms, because the physical geography of the Arabian Peninsula is perfectly optimized for extraction. It costs this sovereign titan only a few single dollars to physically produce a single barrel of oil, which they then turn around and sell on the open international commodity market for 10 or 20 times their original mechanical production cost. When your fundamental manufacturing cost is mathematically the lowest in the entire world, and the global demand for your physical product is absolutely mandatory for human survival, you do not have to worry about aggressive daily competition or changing consumer technological trends. You simply open the massive industrial valves and watch the liquid wealth flood into your treasury. This unparalleled geographical advantage allows them to completely dominate the global energy sector, pumping millions of barrels of heavy crude oil into the international logistics network every single day, creating a massive impenetrable structural moat that no other energy corporation can ever successfully cross. Because you cannot physically outcompete a company that produces the exact same product for pennies. But while Saudi Aramco undeniably holds the absolute global crown for total sovereign net profit, there's a completely different architectural empire dominating the modern civilian landscape, if we shift our focus entirely to the realm of non-state-backed, publicly traded civilian corporations. The absolute reigning champion of modern global wealth extraction is undeniably Apple. At first glance, the fundamental business model of Apple seems incredibly simple and straightforward. They design and manufacture highly expensive premium consumer hardware devices, aggressively marketing their sleek glass smartphones and powerful laptop computers to an incredibly loyal and completely devoted global consumer base. But if you believe that Apple simply makes their massive billions by selling physical glass screens, you're completely missing the brilliant and highly calculated invisible trap they have built. Because the physical hardware is merely the beautifully polished bait on a highly sophisticated hook, designed specifically to pull the wealthy consumer directly into their inescapable digital ecosystem. The absolute true financial genius of the modern Apple corporate architectural model is an incredibly aggressive strategy, formerly known as premium hardware and ecosystem lock, where the initial expensive purchase of the physical smartphone is just the absolute beginning of a lifetime of continuous and completely unavoidable digital financial extraction. Once you transition your entire personal digital life into their highly controlled proprietary environment, your family photographs, your daily communications, and your private digital banking applications. They completely lock the invisible digital doors behind you and throw away the cryptographic key, making the psychological and operational cost of switching to a competitor absolutely devastating. When a user is safely secured entirely inside the walled digital garden of the corporate ecosystem. Apple immediately begins to aggressively monetize their continuous daily digital existence, charging them recurring monthly subscription fees for invisible cloud storage data, and quietly taking a massive percentage of every single digital transaction they ever make. This perfectly introduces the absolute most lucrative element of their entire corporate strategy, the completely unchallenged and highly exclusive digital dominance of the application store, where any independent software developer who wants to reach the massive captive audience is mathematically forced to surrender a massive portion of their total commercial revenue. They do not physically manufacture the independent video games or the digital dating applications, yet they ruthlessly collect a massive systemic tax on every single digital purchase made inside them, acting exactly like a medieval sovereign king, collecting a heavy toll on a mandatory public bridge, generating an absolute incomprehensible ocean of pure, highly profitable digital revenue. This brilliant transition from selling premium physical hardware to selling continuous digital services completely transformed the financial trajectory of the modern technology corporation. Because digital services require almost absolutely zero physical manufacturing or shipping logistics, meaning the financial profit margins on a cloud storage subscription are incredibly massive. The consumer completely convinces themselves they are simply buying a premium cellular telephone, while the highly calculated corporate executives sitting safely in California absolutely know they are successfully acquiring a permanent lifelong digital tenant for their massive invisible city, who will reliably pay their mandatory monthly digital rent for the rest of their natural lives. These two towering corporate empires operate in completely entirely different physical realms. One aggressively extracts ancient physical energy from the blistering sand of the eastern desert, and the other elegantly extracts endless digital capital from the pockets of the modern consumer. Yet their fundamental architectural strategies for securing absolute global dominance are incredibly similar. Both of these massive apex predators achieved their completely untouchable financial status by successfully building an environment where the global consumer has absolutely no alternative option. Whether you physically need liquid gasoline to commute to your daily corporate job, or you desperately need a specific digital application to communicate with your family members, they do not compete on the open global market. By continuously offering the lowest possible price, they aggressively compete by successfully becoming the absolute foundational infrastructure of your daily life, ensuring that attempting to live completely without their specific highly integrated products is a massive operational nightmare that the average working class citizen simply cannot endure. The brilliant executives running these two massive global corporate machines completely understand that true generational wealth is never built by simply offering a slightly better consumer alternative. It is built entirely by successfully designing a completely closed structural environment, where every single action the consumer takes mathematically enriches the master corporate ledger. When you look closely at the massive, towering global success of the Saudi Arabian oil group, you realize that their wealth is entirely derived from controlling the absolute base layer of human motion. Because absolutely every single physical product delivered across the entire modern global supply chain requires a massive amount of their heavily refined liquid energy to successfully reach the final destination. And when you critically examine the unprecedented financial trajectory of the California technology giant, you completely understand that they have successfully built the absolute base layer of human communication, acting as the mandatory digital toll booth for the entire modern interconnected global society, quietly taxing every single digital interaction conducted inside their highly secure walled garden. The wealthy financial elite, sitting comfortably in their luxurious corner executive suites, desperately want the ordinary working class to believe the highly romanticized corporate myth that absolute massive global profitability is simply the natural reward for continuous hard work, and that any ambitious young entrepreneur can successfully build a trillion-dollar empire. But the cold and completely undeniable historical fact check absolutely proves without a doubt that the most profitable corporate entities on planet Earth do not play by the standard rules of commerce. They actively rewrite the fundamental laws of the global economy to exclusively serve their own interests, and they aggressively use their massive accumulated capital to systematically outmaneuver emerging competitors. They deploy thousands of highly paid corporate lobbyists to successfully influence sovereign governments, ensuring that massive regulatory structures are entirely designed to heavily protect their existing empires, creating a highly complex legislative maze that absolutely guarantees no small independent startup can ever successfully challenge their absolute dominance over the modern global consumer market. This is the true invisible architecture of the global economy that they refuse to teach in business school. an absolute mathematical reality where the concepts of free market competition are completely obsolete, replaced entirely by massive, highly coordinated systems of continuous global wealth extraction, designed to relentlessly funnel the capital of the working class upward into the massive corporate vaults. If you truly want to survive the incredibly aggressive and highly consolidated modern financial landscape, you must completely stop viewing these massive corporate entities as simple, friendly consumer brands, and start recognizing them as highly calculated and deeply ruthless machines of absolute capital efficiency, designed specifically to completely capture your loyalty and continuously extract your physical wealth. You must aggressively analyze your own personal daily consumer habits and your monthly digital subscriptions, identifying exactly where you are willingly participating in these massive, inescapable, closed-loop ecosystems, and actively making highly conscious financial decisions to completely protect your hard-earned capital from the relentless, invisible hands of the world's most profitable apex corporate predators. Because the absolute undeniable truth of the modern globalized financial architecture is that every single dollar you unconsciously surrender to a massive structural ecosystem is another absolute permanent victory for the towering and completely untouchable corporate kings who quietly rule the entire planet from behind the highly polished glass of their corporate screens. If this deep dive into the true business models of the absolute most profitable companies on Earth and the terrifying reality of how they completely lock you into their structural ecosystems fired you up about deeply understanding the literal mathematical foundation of the complex global economy, then do me a massive favor right now, smash that like button to let the algorithm know this factual, historical conversation matters. Share this video with every friend and family member who needs to understand how the real financial world operates. Let us keep exposing the true mechanics of wealth and power. I will catch you in the next one where we break down the next hidden chapter in the long history of money and corporate authority. Until then, stay informed, stay skeptical, and remember that the most profitable product in the history of the modern global economy has absolutely never been physical technology. It has always been your complete dependence